Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, I'm bringing you my guest, Dayen. He is the creator behind Barkley Eyewear. For those of you who are not yet aware of this amazing product, well, I'm so happy that you're here today to find out more about it. It is a tool that is stylish and environmentally friendly that will boost your sleep. If you are someone who has trouble sleeping, well, this will be a great episode for you. And if you're someone who is looking to have quality sleep so you can wake up energetically, so you can do the things that you want every day, well, continue watching as well. I was brought up with parents who reminded me daily on how important sleep is. They rarely let me stay up late, and if I do ever stay up late, they would constantly ask me why wasn't I sleeping yet. Of course, I have those days where I stay past 12 or even 2 or even 3. As normal kids would do in their teenage stage because they want to rebel, and that's what I did too. But thanks to my parents' wisdom, I always had quality sleep. And they also helped me realize that we really do have the control. We can either stay up and do things that are not serving us and feel shit the next day, or we can choose to have quality sleep and tune in with our body and really look after our overall well-being so we can have quality life. So thank you, Mom and Dad. I love you both so much. And a huge thank you to Dayen as well for creating such an amazing product to help so many people. He will be sharing how beneficial Barkley Eyewear is and how easy it is to use it. Because we had such an amazing chat, there will be 2 parts to the interview. He will be sharing amazing knowledge on sleep and also great wisdoms on life. So enjoy! Hi, Dayen. Thank you so much for your time. I know that you're very busy, especially given that you are starting your own podcast. So I just want to say thank you so much for sparing time for me. Now, before you share your story and your amazing work, I would love to know, how are you feeling today?
We're feeling really good. We had the sun out yesterday here in the mountains. It's the first time in a lot of months that we haven't had a lot of sun. So today is also a really sunny day. So I'm really grateful for the sun that's out there and to be able to chat with you.
Yes, thank you. Where are you actually? Sorry.
We're in Sassafras in Victoria. So we're in the Dayne'll ranges in Victoria. So we're about 45 minutes east of Melbourne.
Are you in stage 4 lockdown?
Yeah, it's really strict right now. Yeah, so we just reach into that sort of region, but I think all of Victoria, the stage is in really strict stage 4 lockdown. So I think we got until the end of September, and then things may get a little looser, but it's pretty extreme right now.
How have you been dealing with it, by the way?
Personally, really good. I feel like a lot of friends and family, and hearing their sort of side of things, it's a lot more difficult for a lot of people out there when they're not unsure what's going on. But myself and Indy up here, we have an incredibly grateful to have such a great property. We're up here and we're just building like a podcast, and we're doing our work. And so it's pretty much hasn't really phased us so much in terms of lifestyle. So we work from home anyway, so it's not a big deal. So yeah, we're really grateful for our situation right now.
Yeah, that's good to hear. It's so important to take care of yourself, especially now. Well, please take everyone back to, I guess, before you started Barkley Eyewear.
Good question. How did it all start? So Barkley Eyewear, that, I guess I lose track of time now, even trying to reflect myself. The years just blur into one. I'm like, what year did I start that? What year did I create it? So I'd say it would have been 2017-ish is when the idea came to me to create the glasses. So it's now 3 years later, and I'm still I'm at the stage now where they're available, but it took me about a good 2 years or so to break through my stuff to get there. So I'd say from memory about 2017, somewhere in that year, the idea came to me about the blue blockers. And so I had experience with blue blockers for a few years prior to that. And I've learned a lot about the biophysics behind it, the health benefits and everything about that, but also my personal experience, which I wore myself. So I bought multiple pairs of glasses and I wanted to experiment through all of them. And most of them were quite sort of unattractive, I guess, or ugly looking glasses. They may be effective, but they weren't an attractive looking pair of glasses. And so there was a bit of a scratch my own back, sort of scratch my own itch, sorry, scratch my own back, scratch my own itch in terms of that I wanted to have something that I would want to wear myself. And that was effective to the degree that I knew based on my understanding of biophysics and everything as well. So I wanted to sort of put those two together, and it took me I guess until today now to get that going. And so the whole journey to get them to where they are today has been quite intense, and I had to learn a lot about myself throughout that journey as well. So it was the combination of wanting to scratch my own itch in terms of there wasn't anything like that out there in the market. And I had no interest in competing with what was already out on the market. I wanted to create and innovate something that is not out there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have created it. It's my sort of opinion. And so that was a big driver for me. And the other driver as well was also my nan passing in 2000, my grandmother passing in 2017 caused or activated something inside me to want to protect eyesight and learn about lighting. Seeing my nan growing up was blind for my entire life growing up, so I saw the importance of eyesight and the lack of it, and so I really wanted to have a drive to be able to. I guess I wanted to be able to save her eyesight if I could, but I couldn't, and so my driver as well was wanting to help as many people as possible protect their eyes as much as possible, because seeing and understanding the detrimental effects of artificial lighting on our eyes and on our circadian rhythm and everything else down our track as well. So I really wanted to, that were the two big drivers that got me to want to create Barkley Eyewear. So
that was beautiful. I think a lot of people take sight for granted, like especially with those people who might also be colorblind too. Like they see things differently too. So for those people who have perfect eyesight, honestly, please don't take everything for granted. But can you please share with people what is the big difference between Barkley Eyewear and other blue blocker?
Absolutely. This is something I'm really passionate about, is sharing and communicating as well, because that was a really big driver for me to create something that wasn't out there in the market already. And even to this day, there's levels I still get triggered when I see other companies launching and seemingly quite successful in that area, and I see them as not being, and my understanding of lighting and health is that they're just not that effective in certain areas. So the biggest difference, I'm really passionate about exploring every other brand out there. So I don't think people are the same, whereas I want to find almost every blue block on the market and see what they're doing and see what like levels they are and the shapes and the styles and the effectiveness. And so that was a big driver for me when I went to create these. I just didn't just go out there and just create a pair of glasses. I did my research, and I've pretty much like researched every pair I can possibly find out there all over the world. And so I sort of shaped mine around the best styles that I felt comfortable wearing, but also that is very trending as well, and also the effectiveness. So the biggest thing behind Barkley Eyewear that isn't out there in the market, a part of me that just to go back a little bit, the part that also made it difficult for me to launch these was that I was also had a bit of fear, or a bit of afraid that people would copy these. And because I knew that there was nothing like this on the market, and I wanted to try to protect that IP and wanted to patent the idea. I went to a patent lawyer and found out it's not really a patentable idea because it can be changed so easily. So it wasn't worth putting the money in to sort of protect that. So I just learned on the way to let go of that and just trust that when I create these, I will start to sort of get traction and just keep doing the work. And that was a lot of inner work to get through that as well. But essentially the difference between Barkley Eyewear and everything else out there is that these it's like almost 4 pairs of glasses in one. And so I created these, they're clip-ons. And so these are different, you can these are the daytime clip-ons. Each pair comes with 3 separate clip-ons. And so the pair that I'm wearing right now is just a clear lensed, this is the one I'm wearing right now, the Templetons in black. And so they're just a clear lens with about 40% blue blocking tint inside them now. So they still have some blue blocking effect, but they're not that effective they're actually not effective pretty much at all for nighttime use. So for daytime use for right now in front of them, as I'm recording, they're quite useful and sort of in front of the screen. So there are a lot and majority of blue blockers right now on the market like these ones. So the majority of them use the same technology. They just like to market them and reword them in a way that makes it sound like it's their special technology. Whereas it's about 90% of those glasses where I got mine manufactured are from China, and they're all the same sort of, they're either plastic or acetate. Mine are acetate, so it's a higher quality pair. There's a lot of them out there use plastic because it's cheaper. And they have the clear lens, and then they use that and promote and market that as being effective for sleep and everything else around that, which is not true. And that's why I'm wanting to share, I guess, my Barkley Eyewear glasses and share the difference with that is that these are great for daytime use, but essentially that's really it. And then if you want extra protection for daytime, whether if you're around fluorescent lighting, bad LEDs, a lot of screens throughout the day, there's a daytime clip I have. It's called the Day Clip, which is like slightly sort of yellow tint. You can see the blue reflecting off that naturally now anyway. And then there's two more clip-ons that I have, which are called the Dusk and Delta, and they're designed for the nighttime use. So essentially there's a daytime and nighttime pair. And a lot of companies out there, the ones that are doing very well right now in the world, they're the ones that have the right effectiveness. They have multiple pairs of glasses you have to buy in one. So if you want a daytime pair and a nighttime pair, you have to pay for two different separate glasses. And they have the lenses already built in there. So it would cost you, for the leading blue blockers now, $300 plus just to get two pairs of glasses, which was day and night. So I wanted to create having day to night, essentially four pairs of glasses in just one package. And so I could just clip them on and off as I need throughout the day and as people feel comfortable as well. So the big driver for me behind creating the glasses was I wanted to bridge the gap between the mainstream and this biohacking world. So I grew up, what my training has been very much in the biohacking alternative health space. And in that space, blue blockers are just a given that everyone wears them and everyone knows the benefits of them, and they all represent and like to promote different brands. And so that was just everyone in that space just wears them already, but the mainstream haven't really caught on to that just yet. And so my idea was to sort of bridge that gap. And so I wanted to create a pair that was people will feel comfortable wearing outside the house, not just inside the house, but outside the house as well. So a lot of the pairs that I wore myself and experienced with, I don't feel comfortable wearing them outside the house. And I know from my feedback from other people and friends and family, they wouldn't feel comfortable wearing that either. And so that was a big one for me, was to make them looking really modern and contemporary, make them out of the most premium materials I could find at the time, and for the cost effectiveness as well. And also having just one pair that caters to my day to night needs. So I wear mine throughout the day. I don't particularly wear them because I'm not around a lot of screens and I have a lot of natural lighting around me. But come nighttime, if we're watching TV, we wear them every single night. If we leave the house, we wear them all the time. So it's something that I personally wear myself, and consistently wear, and I want to recommend. So yeah, the biggest difference is that if you were to go out there now and wanted to get the same level of effectiveness as sort of the Barkley Eyewear, you have to buy 2 to 3 different pairs of glasses, and that's just not convenient, one, for traveling, but also economical because of the cost as well. And so I wanted to make it economical and affordable for people, hence why they're under $200, $198. So that means that you get your day and night pair in just one pair, and that's all you need, and that should last you a long time as well, because I made them from the best quality materials that I could find right now. And so that's the biggest difference. After all my research, just brought everything into sort of one pair, so to speak. And so I have a lot more different plans for the future and the next models, and so that's exciting. But right now, it's like this is what I have available, and there's still nothing like this on the market. And I'm just sort of working with that.
Yeah, love it. Thank you so much for doing the research, and thank you for explaining it. And also, it is also very environmentally friendly because, like you said, if you buy multiple pairs, then really that is extra material. And how is that good for the environment? But what I know is that the material that you have chosen to use is also more environmentally friendly. Is that right?
Cellulose acetate is what it's designed from. The clip-ons themselves are metal, so they're not. There's very little plastic elements in there, and I also don't use, at the time, what I'm doing the best that I can to sort of be so environmentally friendly. Thanks to Indy, is that in the packaging when I've got them sort of delivered from China, is that they have the plastic packaging all inside them. So I've then removed and inspected every pair that goes out, and I removed the soft plastic inside it, and I'm recycling the soft plastic, and then I'm using it I'm also sending it out in a compostable packaging bag with a compostable label as well. So once you take the package out, the entire packaging and the label can be thrown out into the compost, and that will decompose. Or you can also, I guess, recycle it as well. So I'm doing the best I can to be, because that's a huge passion for myself and Indy as well, is that to be environmentally conscious going forward. And just, I feel like not many blue blockers that I've seen are very much in that space of being conscious of that, sort of marrying that environmental awareness and also effectiveness for health and using quality sort of materials. And so I'll be doing my best to sort of find it and keep sort of growing from that area at least.
Yeah, thank you. And for those who are listening and watching, please do stay tuned. Like what Dayen say, like there's a new version coming. Yes.
Yeah,
I'm excited for you. Would you like to actually quickly show people how easy it is with the clip-ons?
Yeah. So this is like the daytime clip-on. So this is a question I get a lot usually, is like how to clip them on. And so I had to experiment myself with them to see how they work. But essentially there's 4 contact points, the little clips on there. And so these little clips come out. And so the idea is that they're very sturdy clip-ons as well. So they can be bent pretty well. So they wear and tear a lot. And so what the idea is that you grab those 4 points and you sort of pinch it down, or sort of you grab it there and pinch it down through there, and that there then goes over the top, and then the sides clip on to there. So they go up and in on that. And so some people have actually can do it with one hand as well. So if you got some skills, you can. My gymnastics coach actually can do it with one hand quite easily. And so it's a fun sort of trick to sort of learn, but it's very easy to clip on and off. So throughout the day, once you get the hang of it, it's very simple. And so that's and they're very sturdy too. So I haven't broken. I've experimented with them for now a year or so, or more actually, and I haven't broken my glasses nor these, and they've been dropped and thrown around and really experimented with. So
now, a quick question for those people who need to wear prescription glasses, what would be the best for them?
The question that's come up a lot too is the prescription glasses, because right now, being such a small startup, don't have the funds to go into actually creating prescription glasses in themselves. So I've created them as non-prescription, sort of just plain glasses for people to wear. And if they need prescription, the best recommendation is that they can take their frames to their local optometrist, and they can get their prescriptions added into my frames. And so that allows them to still have the frames and the clip-ons, which are designed specifically for the frames. The clip-ons are the most important part. So the clear base lenses are just like a base lens for people to get used to wearing glasses that may not wear glasses. But the biggest sort of differentiating point are the clip-ons, because they're the ones that have the most effective blue blocking technology in them. And so therefore, yeah, when it comes to prescription as well, that I recommend that's the best option for people. They can get their own lenses popped into there. And again, I've had a few customers as well that the glasses haven't fit, because I've only got 2 different styles right now. I'm just launched with these pair, which are Templetons, and my Indy wears the Oscar pairs. And so they're a bit more rounder and smaller as well. So if they don't fit their faces, you can also take it to an optometrist, and they can actually they can shape it to your face as well. So the best recommendation is to go to an optometrist, and they should get it all sort of for you there.
Yeah, thank you. Or you can just hold it. I mean, you can work on your arm muscle while you're holding it, I guess. But share with people, like, because it affects our sleep, isn't it? So yeah. Would you like to explain that a little bit with blue blockers?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I guess another reason why I decided to create these as well is that I personally believe these are one of the lowest hanging fruits in terms of optimizing sleep quality. I feel like there are so many factors, I guess, with our approach to health and life, is that the whole holistic approach, that there are so many factors, where it's dietary, environmental, stress. There's so many factors involved, and that takes a lot of time to sort of work through. If you have a coach, it's also great. But I personally believe, is from my personal experience, my understanding, my knowledge, is that lighting is one of the most important aspects when it comes to sleep quality. and it's one of the easiest to implement, and it affects every single human being as well. So diets can vary and people have different beliefs around that. There's different levels of stress and all that as well, which is also really important. But for me, it's like, what was such an easily implementable device or item that can have such profound impact? And that was blue blockers, because that's the lighting these days is so it's so artificial, and it comes in from screens, from LED lights, from fluorescence, and so being exposed to artificial light after dark, especially. So during the daytime, it's still not ideal. You want to be getting as much natural sunlight as possible, but coming from sunset onwards, that's when the effects really sort of kick in. So for our bodies as humans to release melatonin, which is an incredible molecule into our system, that allows us to get sleepy and to fall into really deep sleep. And that's not possible with the modern lighting right now. So for that to be possible, and for people to still integrate and still do what they want to do, so whether that's on their working laptop, watching a movie on the TV, or just in the kitchen with the lights on, that's why blue blockers, I feel like, is such an easy thing to put on and will still allow your body to release that melatonin and to fall into a deep sleep every single night. And so and you don't have to keep buying it. Like, buy one pair and that should last you for a while. So it's not something you have to keep buying like a supplement where you have to keep consistently buying. So there are also really good supplements, magnesium and melatonin, you can supplement with that will assist with that. But again, that's still something you have to top up on. And to allow your body to naturally release that is one of the biggest things is lighting. And so that's why, I guess, with the glasses, blocking out blue light or artificial light from sunset is so imperative, because it allows your body to be able to fall into a deep sleep, and it also protects your eyes as well. So come nighttime, that if you're exposed to these bright lights, essentially the easiest way to think of it is that you're looking at like a midday sun. So if you're watching the TV with the bright light, LED lit TVs out there, or you're looking at your phone, and you're looking at a laptop, or even in the lighting in most houses as well, your brain is essentially telling you that, or your eyes register what's going on with the level of light frequencies coming in, and your brain's telling you it's midday sun. So therefore, if it's midday sun, you're not going to want to release melatonin because you think it's daytime still, even though you consciously know it's night. The light messages you're getting through into your eyes, it's going to your brain, is telling you it's midday. So that just scrambles the body clock, and that just disrupts the circadian rhythm, which disrupts your sleep. And so some people, I guess majority of people out there, can still sleep, and some may think they sleep okay, but they never really experience what deep quality sleep is like until they've actually experienced what it's like to either be in darkness at nighttime or wearing blue blockers at least. So that's one of the best options to slowly, in my opinion, to integrate into a quality sleep every night, is to have blue blocking glasses, and at least also have effective blue blocking glasses. So they're only effective if they have the orange or red tint for nighttime use. And so the other two clip-ons I have orange and red. And so that does take a little bit to get used to, for the eyes to adjust to. But once you do that, your eyes sort of relax and it gets to a really comfortable state. And it's very difficult to go without them now. So if I was to not wear blue blockers and watch a screen, it's extremely harsh for my eyes now, because they've gotten accustomed to wearing to these nice sort of what the elements and the lighting that's meant to be exposed to at night. And so it's very similar to the same frequency as fire or candlelight. And so that's why the orange and the red lenses, they block out up to 500 nanometers and up to 550 nanometers, which is the nanometer range, which is shown to actually allow for melatonin to be released in the body. So I guess that's in a nutshell, essentially why it helps us sleep.
Yes, I love it. I just love the way that you put it in the beginning, how, yes, with diet, because everyone's body is different. So it's kind of hard to, I guess, put a nail on it to be like, oh, you need to eat X, Y, Z, so you will have optimal health. And like you said, like sleep, everyone needs to sleep. So why wouldn't you want to boost your sleeping and have a quality sleep so you can wake up energetically every day? And also, like I said before, if you want to see things, you want to look after it as well. So speaking of quality sleep, for those people who, I guess, don't have quality sleep,
What would be the 3 tips that you know that everyone can take on other than buying your glasses, obviously? What can they do now?
Good question. I think there's so many elements. My personal opinion, I guess, for moving forward, one thing that we found to be really effective would just be conscious of your lighting environment. That's like a really important thing. So people start to become aware of the lighting they have in their house. So if it's unnecessary lights you have on, just switch them off. For one, you're saving power, which is great for the environment, but two, it's also better for your health and for your sleep. So if there's downlights on, just you don't necessarily need them on, then switch them off. That's a big one for that one there. Just being conscious of your lighting come sunset. And so throughout the day, it's also important, but particularly from nighttime onwards. So if people would just be more aware of the lighting they have on and to be more conscious of that. So if they don't have a pair of glasses and they want to take action right now, it's, I would say, yeah, definitely have the lights off as much as possible. And with the TV or with your screens on your phone, you just turn the brightness down as much as possible. So on our TV as well, you can go into the settings and just turn the backlight on it down to 0 and then turn the brightness as far down as possible as you can. And so you're not getting such intensity coming from your screen. It's the same for your phone, same for your laptop computer. It's just being conscious of your lighting environment, and as much as you can, turn the brightness down come sunset. The intensity will help, but it won't block out, obviously, the blue light, which therefore the glasses are necessary for. So I guess the light intensity to sort of drop that down into your devices is key. The second one would be, I would say, install Iris. So iris.tech, I think it's iristech.co. If people can Google Iris blue blocking software, you can install that into your laptops. You can, some smartphones, I don't Apple don't allow that anymore, but because Apple have night shift and they didn't allow Iris to be installed into their system. They wanted to create their own version, but their own version is just pretty much useless. It just turned your screen slightly yellow, but it doesn't really do much. And so that's Apple's way of trying to show that they care for eyesight. And even though I use Apple products, it's that was the sort of that wasn't really good sort of angle for them, at least. But I think Androids you can probably install Iris for. But I'd recommend for laptops definitely installing Iris. It's a very cheap program and it's the best blue blocking program there is. And so personally, throughout the day, sometimes I don't even need my glasses because I have my laptop with Iris installed on it, and I have the light frequency down to around 1200 Kelvin, which is a really dark sort of amber. So my screen is most of the time quite dark and amber. If you see me on social media, my screen's always either red or dark orange, and that's because it's blocking out most of the blue light as well. So I find throughout the day, with natural lighting coming in and the blue blocking software on my laptop, I don't always need to wear my glasses, which is great. But come sunset, in front of screens, I'm always wearing glasses.
Yeah.
Blue blocking glasses. And so that's a second one I'd highly recommend. People to check out Iris, Google Iris blue blocking software to come up with that. And then the third one, I would say, again, going back to the first one, if people were to turn off as much lights as possible and maybe replacing that with candlelight, which would be ideal. Or if you have a fireplace, even like we have, it's perfect. But even candlelight is great as well for that. The third option I'd say would be to invest in a red light, a headlamp that has a red light function on it as well. And so that's what we personally use, a headlamp with the red light function. And we use that to navigate the house at night. So we generally have most of our lights switched off, which is great. And because we know the effect of light on our health and our sleep, and it's such an easy thing to implement. Like for us, it's like, it's not inconvenience for us because our sleep quality is so important, and how we feel every day waking up is so important. So it just makes sense for us to have the lights off and then to put on our red headlamp, and we just walk around the house at night. So if we need to go to the bathroom, wake up during the night, you put the red headlamp on, you walk to the bathroom, and that doesn't affect your melatonin, nor does it affect you like waking up. So some people usually go to the bathroom at night and they'll switch on the bright light, and that will just destroy like any chance of them falling back into a deep sleep. And so, come sort of night, we have most of the lights off in the house, and we have our red headlamp, a rechargeable red headlamp as well. So there's the one we use and we recommend. We get from Amazon. It's really cheap. And so that would be probably the third option I would say I'd recommend for people to do sort of, that can implement. And that's really, from those, the Iris technology is very cheap software. The headlamp's about $20. And just being conscious of the lighting is also free. So that's a really, I guess, economical way to really drastically impact your sleep quality.
Yes. Thank you so much for the amazing tips. What is the lamp that you guys use?
Brand's called Go for Wild. It's on Amazon in Australia. I did a lot of research to find one that would have a red light function that could be used, that was quite bright as well, because some of them have just a low one. And I also wanted to be rechargeable, because buying batteries is not sustainable, economical, or environmental. And so having a rechargeable headlamp, and for it to be relatively cheap as well. So it's about $23, I think it is, for a headlamp, and that's rechargeable. And so once you have that, you can navigate your house. And so, yeah, it's just really big investments, really. Between the glasses and the headlamp, you got everything you need, in my opinion. So it's very sustainable, very economical, and very sort of practical, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's like the starter pack for those ones.
Yeah.
And it's so cheap. So thank you so much again for doing the research and telling people where they can get it. And I will also be leaving all those details in the description, and also obviously where people can buy your glasses. Now, just now you talk about candles. I think would you like to share about that with people? Because obviously, I don't know about the quality of candles. Like, does it matter?
Good question. It's a really good question that I haven't been asked that before yet, which is really great, is that it does matter. Yeah, it really does. A lot of people would buy those terrible scented, like unnatural fragrance, and that through the house, you've been inhaling those toxins as well, is not ideal. And so we personally, we have natural beeswax candles, and we can get them from our local. They're available very locally for us here as well, and they're not hard to find online. If people just searched natural beeswax candles, and they're just literally there, and they have this smell. Some of them are really natural and have the smell of the honey as well, which is great. So when they burn, it has like a sweet honey smell throughout the house, which is great. And so really awesome through winter. And yeah, that's again really important. So whether you're getting either a natural soy candle, so again, IKEA has just those basic white ones, which are really inexpensive, and at least they're just plain and they have no scent to them. But you can, if you walk through, I guess, IKEA, you can sometimes smell those pungent, fragrant candles that are in a certain section. And some people, they may enjoy that smell, but it's so toxic, it's ridiculous. And so if you're burning that in your house, and that's going in your house, it's not ideal at all. So getting getting just as natural as possible with no flavorings or smellings or additives whatsoever, whether that's 100% soy wax candle, whether that's 100% beeswax candles. We personally prefer beeswax candles. That's like usually the way to go. And having that won't have any sort of detrimental effect on your sort of health, and in breathing in those sort of toxins as well. So if for the smell, if people want to add some smell into their environment, we personally diffuse essential oils throughout our house. And so we have an ultrasonic diffuser, and again, you can get that available like anywhere, and most people are aware of that. And you can find your own natural essential oils and whatever scents that you personally like. And right now we're putting lemongrass and peppermint together and combining that throughout the house. Now we're heading to spring, and which it smells very fresh. And that's how, I guess, the best way to add, I guess, if people want to add some smell or fragrance to the house, would be to diffuse natural essential oils. And then when it comes for candles, just keeping that as natural as possible, whether soy, whether beeswax, and just using that. That'd be ideal.
Yes. Thank you for saying that, because personally, I just want people to picture this. Everything that you smell into your body, it stays in your body. Like, how does it release? I don't know. Like, is there a way that our body release smell?
Have natural detoxifying methods within our bodies, and so it all depends on the level of health you're at to be able to detoxify that. So again, it's just another element that is unnecessary in your environment. So there's if people aren't aware, there's electromagnetic frequencies that emit as well, and so that's not ideal in your environment. So if you're just adding toxic fragrance smells in your environment, that goes in through, you're inhaling that through nose, through mouth. And again, that's just going to add more confusion and more difficult for your body to either detoxify that, but even at the same time to be able to just to have general good health. And so you just you want to be able to minimize as many toxins as possible. And then obviously not being obsessive about it, but just being aware that it's very easy to not buy those scented candles and not support that as well. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And just FYI, fragrance are actually made with lots of other chemicals, and really it's not really good for you. So thank you so much for reminding people as well. Is there any brands that you recommend?
I don't think so. For candles, no. For candles, I think our brand's a local brand here to us. But again, if people were to just simply search online, 100% beeswax candles, I'd say the majority of them are pretty good. And if they have an understanding and just see the description and whether to make sure they're 100% beeswax and nothing else, that's ideal, or 100% soy and no fragrance, and just look for those descriptions in the searching. And so I guess it's a lot of different brands, and depending on where you are, ideally it's great to support local. So for us, we like to support local as much as possible. So we find the local beeswax candles, which is great because the beeswax are created here to our environment. So if you're up north or south or anywhere in the world, if you were to search something for locally there, you may be able to find something that's great to support that first. So we personally like to recommend for people to look locally, whether at markets or wherever that may be for people. And if they can't find that, then the next option is to go online and just to search for 100% beeswax candles or unfragrant or unscented soy candles, whatever that looks like, and keeping it as natural as possible is ideal. And just one more thing, as you said to that before, is that the fragrance that added, how unnatural that is as well. Like if people were to look on the back of a bottle of cologne or perfume, and to see the numbers and the words, if they can't pronounce the words or know what the numbers are, then it's you're putting toxins directly onto your largest organ in your body, which is your skin, and that's absorbing straight into your body. And so it's really sad to see these celebrities out there on TV constantly promoting these fragrances, whether it's the biggest, highest brands that are worth millions or billions of dollars, and they're just essentially just chemicals in a bottle that have a smell, and people like spraying it on them. It doesn't make any logical sense to me, like how that's absorbing into the body, and that's just being soaked into the bloodstream, and that's becoming, again, another unnecessary level of toxin added to the body.
Yeah, I totally agree. I personally use like natural products, so yeah, I don't want to get into that. So thank you for pointing that out. And here's a quick tip for those who are wanting to buy candles and actually all products. I would highly recommend you to go to the About Me page, because you can tell the creator that's really behind it. If they really put their sweat, blood, and everything, they will really share their story with you, and you can resonate with them. And you can tell that some people, like some companies, they don't have great intentions, and you need to be alarmed with that. You got a choice, so don't be silly and get sucked into it. Now, actually, I do want to ask this. With the skincare thing, what brands do you use?
I personally use Alatura Naturals. It's Andy Nilo is a guy from the US and things in California. Awesome guy as well. And I got introduced to his products years ago, and I use them ever since. I think they're unisex as far as I'm aware, but that's what I use personally is Alatura Naturals. And then I also recommend, I think it's Anne Marie Skincare as well. And so they're really good natural products. I think they're both based in the US. But you can get them online, and they're relatively expensive, but that's generally what you pay for. If you want quality, you pay for a little bit extra for that, but it's worth every cent of it. So
yes, like honestly, looking after your own health is the best investment. That's how I feel. So, I don't know if you have met anyone who said that they are night owls. Is that even a thing?
yeah, a lot of people, I think they believe they're night owls, or that's what their natural rhythms are. But I personally don't believe that. I guess there's some people that believe in the whether you're like a night owl or an early bird, and they like to sort of attach to that sort of identity and believe that's what it is. I personally believe that's not true. And I don't think as humans we're meant to be up at certain hours of the night. I think some are more inclined to be, I think, a slight adjustment. So some of us genetically, but also primarily as well, based on our ancestors, is that some may sleep in a little bit earlier, but not sleeping until 10, 11, 12 in the day. It's like maybe like a 8 or 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, whereas some may be more inclined for, say, a 6 a.m. sort of rise. It's only a very small discrepancy in hours that I personally believe that from the waking hours, and then come nighttime as well, I feel the majority of people would be, I think 10 p.m. would be an ideal time. Some may be more inclined for, say, 11 p.m., but that's still quite as far as I could possibly go in terms of that. Beyond that, I think it just becomes down to a point of circadian misalignment. And so I think if people were to be conscious of their lighting environment, I think if they're naturally, say if they wore blue blocking glasses and they were in a dark environment come nighttime, I don't think it's possible for any human to be up until 1 a.m. because I feel like the only thing that's keeping them awake is stimulation from screens, from movies, from TV, from work. That's all that areas it comes in as stimulating. So anything that sort of, if people were to think they're a night owl, I highly suggest they try to go for, I guess, 2 weeks would be an ideal time, and try 2 weeks with wearing blue blockers every night and being in as dark an environment as possible, and ideally turning off your screens an hour or 2 before you go to bed. And I really believe that it's not, people will find that they're not a night owl. They may just find their natural circadian rhythm would actually kick in. And most of that, for most people, I believe from my experience and from what I've read and what I've heard and everything, is that I believe there's only just a very small discrepancy. Some people can wake up earlier, but then again, it's based on so many different factors as well. So geographically, if you're closer to the equator, you have longer daylight hours. So naturally, your body will want to rise earlier with the sun. And whereas you're further from the equator, there's going to be longer, darker cycles as well throughout a winter. So here we have a lot darker cycles. It'll be dark at like 5 p.m. in winter. We're moving to spring now, so it's shifting. So finding geographically where you are based on the equator is also really key as well. So you're understanding your light and dark cycles. But the best way to put it is that I think when it's when the sun's out and when it's light hours, that's when you should be awake and alert. And when it comes to dark hours, you should be starting to unwind and then fall into a nice deep sleep. And that, I believe, is natural for every human being. It's whether that degree, whether an hour or a difference or so is for most people. But if people think they're a 9 hour, they can stay up until 2. I'm almost definite a circadian misalignment there.
Want to paint something for everyone that's listening and watching. Before the tech age, if we, like you said, with our ancestors, they follow what the sun is doing. They wake up when the sun is up and they go to bed when the sun is down. So it's like a hunter-gatherer stage. So, and they have lived so well, and it's because of all these technology. Like, you want to stay up and chat with your friends or scroll through your Instagram or whatever. Honestly, that's your choice. Like, how is that? Like, personally, I feel like, what does that even mean? However, though, I am very thankful for those people who are shift workers. Obviously, things need to get done. But your glasses can help them with that, right?
I hope you are enjoying the interview so far. I would highly encourage you to go and purchase the stuff that Dayen has mentioned. As you know, he has done the research and he's also using it himself. All the details are in the description below. And the link to purchase Barkley Eyewear is also in the description as well. Honestly, spending money on quality stuff and the stuff that will boost your life is the best investment that you can have. Don't you want to have quality sleep every night so you can wake up energetically and to do whatever you want to do? I know I am, and it's amazing. Alright, don't forget to subscribe, click the thumbs up button if you have loved it, and share it with someone, because you never know what they're going through. And you can click anywhere on the screen to continue to watch part 2. And remember, you're amazing and you are not alone. I will see you next time.